On the first half, we're fighting 2 waves of enemies, starting with 3 primal constructs. The priority on this half is to defeat the 3 constructs before they turn invisible, which happens when the clock hits about 9:35 or about 20 seconds into the fight. The other half of this chamber is the Golden Wolf Lord, who's notorious for taking up a lot of time, so we really want to avoid spending time on chasing these guys while they're invisible. At the start of the fight, I run to either side and use the knockback on Xingqiu's burst to push one of the constructs a little closer to the other 2. I follow this up with Sucrose's skill and burst, which bring them even closer together. I'm running a traditional taser comp here, which is known for its excellent AoE damage thanks to Beto's burst and all the swirl and electrocharge reactions. Some other team comps that worked pretty well for me are Hyper Carry Raiden, Nahida Hyperbloom, and of course a National variant. I usually reserve National for the second half because it is one of my strongest single target teams. I would only put it on the first half if you have another team that can handle the Wolf Lord. If you don't have enough DPS to clear all 3 of them at the same time, I would focus on trying to defeat at least 2 of them so that you only have to chase 1 down. If you let more than 1 go invisible, they usually split up and it becomes difficult to track their locations. Quicken reactions break their invisibility, so one way to work around the DPS check is to try using a spread or aggravate team with a carry like Keqing, Raiden, or Tinari. Even if they do go invisible, you can break their invisibility pretty quickly with this sort of team, so it's not the end of the world. In the second wave, we're fighting the Anemo Eremite Summoner. This fight is pretty straightforward as long as you watch out for some of her harder hitting attacks that have the long windups. If her HP falls below 70%, when she regains her footing, she summons an Anemo Hawk to fight alongside her. Her resistances are also greatly increased while her summon is on the field, so you can try to focus it down first, but if her HP is low enough like this, it's usually better just to go for lethal. On the second half, we are of course fighting the Golden Wolf Lord, perhaps one of the biggest obstacles to a 36-star clear for many players. For the first 10 seconds of the fight, he takes almost no damage, so make sure not to waste any of your bursts. You can still generate energy particles if you need to recharge your bursts. For this fight, we need very high single target DPS, so I'm using a national variant here with Rosaria and Xiangling acting as my damage dealers. The other challenge of this fight is that you need to bring a Geo character if you want to get through his shield phase quickly, which is why I have Ningguang here. This means that unless you build your whole team around Geo, you really only have 3 characters to build your team with, which limits your team comp options quite a bit. If you have Zhongli, he makes team building way easier on this half because he fulfills the Geo requirement and he doubles as your team source of protection. This means you can pick all damage dealers for the rest of your 3 slots, which gives you a lot of flexibility. Another team comp that works really well on this half is the Nahida Kugi Hyperbloom team, supported by Barbara. This team is super consistent and really easy to pilot. As long as your Kuki is level 90 and you have a bunch of EM on both Kuki and Nahida, you just turn on your skills and spam Barbara's normal attacks and the Hyperbloom missiles take care of the rest. Lastly, team comps that leverage long-range damage dealers such as Wanderer, Yoimiya, or Ganyu are also great for this fight. This also includes off-field turret-like damage dealers like Yayamiko or Fischl. The boss has 3 possible opening moves, one of them being this homing skull attack where he fires 3 exploding skulls to chase you. Another one is this tail whip attack, which is a very fast windup and doesn't leave you much time to deal damage. The only opening move where melee teams can reliably get a lot of damage in is his triple dash attack, which you can tell is coming when the boss howls like this. If you do see the boss opening with this move, start your combo immediately. You want all of your dots to be already on the field so that you can take advantage of the entire vulnerability window. Regardless of which move the boss opens with, its second move will always be the laser attack, where it channels and fires a laser for about 8 seconds. Similar to before, you should set up your combo way in advance so that you can deal damage throughout the entire channel duration. The other important advantage of starting your rotation early is that you can use the entire channel time to recharge your bursts, which allows you to be prepared for the next time you attack. I also like to use Ningguang's burst right as it's flying away so that I can squeeze just a little bit more damage in. Hopefully after its first 2 moves, you've gotten the boss below 70% HP, which will trigger its shield phase. The boss will summon 3 skulls around the map, which you need to break with elemental damage, with Geo dealing significantly more damage. You need to break all 3 skulls to break the boss's shield, and the boss will be invulnerable until the shield is broken. If you're using Ningguang like me, 2 normal attacks and 1 cast of her skill can break each skull. Sometimes her skill can miss if you place it right on top of the skull, so I like to aim it slightly behind. For the last skull, you can use Ningguang's charged attack since it's already stacked up from the previous 2 skulls. After the shield breaks, the boss will be stunned for about 25 seconds with decreased resistances. This gives you about 1.5 rotations worth of damage, so ideally you should finish off the boss here. If you're having trouble bringing the boss down from 70 to 0 in the last phase, one possible strategy is to deliberately delay its shield phase by 1 rotation. You would bring the boss down to about 75% with your first rotation, and then on its next move try to bring it as low as possible. This way you only have about 40% of its HP to finish off after its shield phase. The idea is to kind of partition its health bar into 3 separate rotations rather than having to burst down 2/3 of its HP in one phase. The builds will follow right after this, and they're also in the video description. As always, thank you so much for watching.